You're listening to the Daily Sales Tips Podcast, and I'm your host, Scott Ingram. Today, Jeff Bajorek is back in his resident spot on most Thursdays, and I'm really excited about this idea that he's kicking off in today's tip. Here, give a listen.
People ask me all the time for help closing sales. They say, Jeff, I've got a closing problem. I need some help getting the ball across the goal line. I just need to finish the job, and I'll be so much better off. Well, duh. But there's a lot that goes into finishing the job. You don't have a closing problem so much as you have an opening problem, a messaging problem, an engagement problem, a preparation problem. You see where I'm going with this? Now, I sat down for a while, and with the help of a couple of friends, including Scott Ingram, I put together a list of 16 problems that you are more likely to have than a closing problem. And I want you to think about the sales process as a whole. I want you to think about that puzzle that you try to put together every time you start prospecting a new client. I want you to think of all the pieces in the puzzle that need to be put together. And unless you have all of the pieces, that puzzle's never quite complete. Using that same metaphor, sure, I'll keep going. The closing piece, the last piece, how hard is that one to put in when you have all the other pieces where they need to go? So I want you to think about your so-called closing problem, and I want you to think about all the other pieces of the process that get put together in one place, in the right places, in order to make that close actually happen. And I want you to work there. I came up with 16 of those kinds of pieces, and I put them all together in a white paper that you can get on my website at jeffbajorek.com. Now, I'm going to direct you back to my podcast, The Why and the Buy, where recently I recorded a 10-minute or so episode about each one of these 16 problems that, if you alleviate, will alleviate your closing problem. But you don't even have to do that, because regularly here on this show, I'm going to go through each one of these 16 problems in a little more detail so you can really maximize the benefit of the lesson and consider each one individually. My tip for you today is to think bigger, because when you think bigger, you'll do better.
All of this sounds to me like just one more reason to make sure you've subscribed to the podcast, and for you to tell your friends to subscribe to the podcast as well, because this series alone is going to provide a ton of value. But do yourself a favor and get a sneak preview. On the website at dailysales.tips/208, we've got links for you to Jeff's white paper with all 16 problems, as well as to his episode on the Why and the Buy podcast where he talks them through. More to come, my friends. Thanks for listening.